Okay, it is the planning board meeting for July 29th, 2026. We're gonna stand and say the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, I'm gonna do a roll call. Kimberly Smith.
Here.
Mona Abdullah is excused. Jared Buckner.
Here.
Gary Dubell.
Here.
Deborah Friend.
Here.
Michael Milks is excused. Right, you said?
He's excused.
Okay. Katrina Zambron.
Here.
All right, I'll hand it over to Kim, the chair.
Approval of our minutes from our last meeting that we had in May. Everybody had a chance to look at everything? Any questions? If not, I'll entertain you to approve. Try motion to approve. Second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposition? Motion carried. And the first thing on our agenda is our site plan approval for seeker negative declaration. And it's for Sweet Life LLC. It's in, what is that about the zero redevelopment?
Yeah, this is what we always refer to as super outsourcing.
Okay, but is there someone here?
Yep.
If you could identify yourself and
Matt Regi, manage the facility at Sucro. I guess I was here for the zoning. Do we just do the same exact thing?
Exact same
For
thing.
that? All right. So, my facility, we bring in raw sugar. We melt it, we recrystallize it, and then we package it and then send it out to, customers that are then reprocessing or using it in their process. None of the sugar that you're buying at the store right now is ours, but when you buy Ben and Jerry's ice cream, that's us. HP Hood ice cream, that's us. Anheuser seltzers, we're supplying them. General Mills, Nestle, Kraft. So we're shipping out sugar to all these local companies. And as of, I believe, like February of this year, we are the only sugar refinery in the Northeast.
how many employees do you have?
About 75. Yep. This building, specifically, so this is my facility here. This is what we call the powerhouse. The refinery starts over here and then we head south from there. This is the north side. This is a parcel that we bought a little less than 2 years ago. And then this is the proposed building. I know in the paperwork, it says 400 feet. That was my mistake. It's actually 150 feet. Which still puts us within everything that we need, except for we needed the variance because we're less than 15% of the, property.
Property coverage.
Yep. And then, yep. And then this is, and that's phase one. Eventually, we're gonna be building out, this direction, which we will hit that 15% mark, but as of right now, I required a variance for phase one, which was approved. And then this building is going to be, sugar storage, so it's gonna be raw sugar as well as, refined sugar storage.
Here you go. So there's no water, there's no sewer, there's no nothing, it's just storage
Correct.
locked up.
Yep.
Or is it open face?
Nope, locked up.
Locked up.
Yep. Locked up on the backside. We'll have an overhead door on this side. This is 163 feet from our lot line, but this is all ours because now we own both with easements.
This is Clark from Development. This is a little bit of a unique footprint situation here. The absent this building, all of their structures are in what's called the Gateway Trade Zone. They are actually coming east of that over the tracks into the northern portion of what we know as Renaissance Commerce Park. There is no more land for them to do what they're doing, so this is contiguous enough for them to expand. So if you were to try to visualize this from Dona Street, you have the Magic Eraser Factory and the two Unilands.
Mhm.
They're basically going to be the bookend of this, one of the bookends to this on the other side. Now, granted, there's a big, huge project that we're being considered for but this will be the bookend right before the port,
On the other side.
on the other side of the tracks.
Okay.
It's on the other
On
side
the
of the-
back.
Yeah, so if you're looking at Ridge Road, they're constructing an opening. They're gonna reopen that Ridge Road gate.
Mhm.
You can see Sucrose facilities are the ones with the white wrappings and white roofs. This will be right in front of that.
This is the Ridge Road expansion that they're currently working on right
Mhm.
now.
Is this, Chair Bob, is this parallel to like, the co-factory, somewhere in that vicinity or no?
Further up.
Further up, this is right at the Buffalo line almost.
This is the Ridge Road. If you look down Ridge Road towards Route 5, they're going to be right
Oh,
there.
way down.
Yeah.
They're going to be right there at the end of Ridge Road on Route
Yeah,
5.
Jared, it's right where you get on the
At
schedule.
the
Where it's
end.
closed.
Okay.
at the-
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, it's planned to be, the gate is planned to be open.
So that's
Sometime in the
leaving
next-
the road, is that,
What's that? They will be extending the road at some point, yeah.
okay, and that's where you're gonna.
And I think putting in these connections too, those weren't in yet, correct?
Correct.
Water and sewer.
Right.
Gotcha.
So again, I can't say much about it, but I was telling the folks that were here for zoning, the 100 or so acres that is in between where this facility is proposed and where the existing buildings are is the finalist for a large 600 job manufacturing plant. That if we get it, it will take about 3 to 5 years to build. And so all this infrastructure, roads and water and connections and so on are all being planned in anticipation of, if not that project, another project of scale going in there.
Does that start on I-9?
Yes,
I-9, so
Yeah.
we're I-10 here.
yeah.
Chair Bob, so, and maybe I missed it. So this storage, what's gonna be stored here? Sugar or?
Yeah. Sugar, raw sugar and refined sugar.
Every friend, is it stored in silos?
It is gonna be stored in, so this is gonna be, right here is a concrete pad that we're putting in. And then we're gonna put around the concrete pad, all the way around, you have a 2 foot by, or 2 foot 6 inch by 2 foot 6 inch. Like concrete,
Like concrete
Wall.
canned.
yeah, and then on the
Yes.
inside of that, we're putting. Meant to print it out, but I didn't, they're called T-walls, so it's precast T-walls. That'll go right here and it'll go all the way around as like a secondary containment.
So what is the structure, was that it right here? Is it like a dome?
This is the inside of it, it's a dome, yeah, yep.
And they had one of these, Clark from development, they had one of these, your actual initial, well, I think before you, was a dome,
No,
and it blew down.
yeah.
And replaced.
No,
And replaced now.
yeah,
And, so now would that could like rain, snow?
that's his main question here as well. So this is, so I don't believe it's gonna create excess, because what's gonna happen is this area right here, right now, all of this rain is coming in here. What's gonna happen though is it's going to then go to the outside of this. Part of the reason we're 353 feet from this line, 200 feet from this line, 160 and 85, like try to be as center as possible, is so any sort of rain that would be coming in here would then dissipate throughout here, because as of right now, we're not putting pavement around the outside of this.
So now, hypothetically speaking, if what your plan is doesn't work, you could be willing to accommodate it. So I would assume that he has a business or something.
Yeah, Ferris Metals.
Okay, so would you be willing to accommodate whoever the neighbors are if this?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if we're creating cooling or something like that, and it's not dissipating as we believe it will, I mean, we would have to drainage tiles somewhere, probably heading east
Storm sewers.
to the storm sewers.
Yeah.
So I kind of drove by there not too long ago and there's potholes everywhere. I don't know if that created it or whatever, but like, is that come into play at all, or am I just?
It's not city map. It's not city property. It's the private property between.
Tecumseh. So let me, if I may, I'm gonna give you the courtesy of the same presentation I gave to the zoning board, and I'll make it quick. The city is the stewards of zoning, planning, and permitting. We don't own that land. We don't control development of that land. We're just partners in it with the zoning and planning process.
Who owns it, Chuck?
So I'm getting there. So the 300, 400 acres that's designated as Renaissance Commerce Park is owned by the county under an organization called the Buffalo and Erie Niagara Land Bank, guided by the ECIDA. When a parcel is bought, so let's just take Magic Eraser. When that parcel was bought, that becomes owned by Magic Eraser, and then they become a tax-paying entity to the city of Lackawanna. The roads that run there, the Donor Street Extension, to Steelworkers Way, those as they're developed get deeded to the city for maintenance and protection purposes. The other part of the property, as you head west towards the lake and north towards the port, the Gateway Metroport area is a federal designated trade zone area. There's lots of businesses, great activity back there, a lot of productivity. Tecumseh, which was the successor organization, the successor bankruptcy organization to Bethel Steel, owns the western part of the property, the slag that heads towards the lake behind where welded tube and all that is. So it's a long-winded way of saying that it's kind of a quilt of who owns what. Within the Commerce Park, that's the county. When you're going to the west of the property, that's Tecumseh. Tecumseh is represented locally by ROU engineers, ROUX, used to be Benchmark Engineers. They pretty much act as the property manager. So that roadway condition has been a problem. We have expressed some concerns with it. Our guest here, who's going to be allowed to speak in a minute, has expressed some more detailed concerns about it. And but in terms of the control of that, we can continue to advocate, but we have no control over the condition of that particular road. Donor Street to Steelworkers Way, yes, we do. That, whatever that access road is, we do not.
Kim Smith, I just want clarification. Now, when you talk about the condition of the road, are you talking about Route 5?
No.
Okay, because that's what I noticed, and that's what I thought you meant when you said the county, because that stretch between, I think it used to be like Three Gate and Ridge Road, it's real bad,
Yeah.
but
That's
I know
that's
that would either be state.
so that's a
or
state.
county.
The Route 5 is a state highway.
Yeah,
This road that we're talking about, if you can visualize going into the Commerce Park from
Where?
Donor Street.
okay,
So you got 8 Donor Street, which is Uniland. You got 6 Donor Street, which is TPM, the Magic Eraser people. I always screw that acronym up. And then welded tube is in front of you, and you see the windmills to the
so back there.
yeah. So there's an access road right past the Magic Eraser factory that takes you to both the port and to the undeveloped portions of the property. That's the road we're talking about.
Okay.
That's what you're referring to as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's not a road that the public, it's not a private road, but it's like, why would you go back there unless you work back there?
Yeah, exactly. But it is an ancillary road. There's truck traffic that goes
Yeah.
through there. It gets rerouted. Again, our friend who's with us here gets to speak in a minute. There's been some flooding issues of that road. There's concerns all the way around, right? So it is very valid concerns, things that need to be addressed. But as we were talking in between break, and I promise I'm done after this, is there's more projects coming to that particular piece of property. And so not that it's right, not to justify it, not to kick it down the road, but I think the question of what to do to fix it is contingent upon what's coming
Yeah.
and how do the ancillary roads need to be laid out. With that said, I stop after this comment. If we get this big project, hypothesize with me, it's 3 to 5 years away. You can't wait 3 to 5 years to fix potholes and fix those things, right? So there's got to be some compromise that eventually happens. But at this point, there's a lot more unknowns than there are
Sure.
knowns. Doesn't make it right, not justifying it, not trying to, say it's okay. But that's just so you understand the landscape, that's what we're dealing with.
And I don't think these potholes that we're looking at are fixable by like cold patch.
No.
I mean, it needs to be torn up.
It's all bank run, I believe, right back there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
whenever you get a small divot in bank run, every time it rains, every time something drives over it, it just compounds it, and a little divot like that by the end of the summer is like that,
Right.
like that. It's bank run. It's meant to be serviced all the time. It's very rarely is it, other than seasonal roads. It's not meant to be, you know,
Yeah.
driven on all the time,
So
you know,
Matt,
without maintenance.
excuse me, if I could turn the conversation back to your project, can you explain to the board how, and I know the answer, I want you to tell them the answer. How does your supply come in? How will it get from a shipment into that facility? Is it truck? Is it rail? What is it? Tell them how it's gonna get there.
So as of right now, it's gonna be, it comes in through the port. It gets unloaded into dump trucks and then it'll be driven up, from port property, comes onto our property, drives all along our property, and we're gonna be putting a rail crossing here and driven into this building. So it won't be going out on public road. It'll be coming all the way up and then all the way across our property and up here. Now, at phase two, what we're gonna be doing, and I guess it's not necessarily pertinent to this, but we'll be doing a switch off of here with rail. And we'll be able to load rail here as well as unload rail into this building. Can't bring rail in from Mexico, Belize and Argentina, but they do have raw sugar refineries in Louisiana that we can bring on rail.
Kim Smith, I remember when you guys came, maybe not you, but when you came in some years ago, so I'll ask the same question again as far as rodents and animals, things like that, because when you're transporting sugar, you know, I would imagine stuff spills. So what do you have in place to remediate?
Any sort of spills?
Yeah,
Um,
mainly for rodents.
I'll
and for
start by
animals.
saying rodents aren't after sugar. So we have, it's a food facility, so
Mhm,
every 15 feet we have rodent traps.
mhm,
We don't get hits on those rodent traps. What we do see is bees,
mhm.
which that's
And no other animals?
we have not had we have not had a single other animal issue.
Mhm.
That being said, that doesn't change the fact that we have to have measures in place to take care of that.
Mhm.
So what we have is we have sweepers. So we have sweepers that any sort of spill that we have. I mean, I have 2 employees dedicated to sweeping up any sort of spill that we have.
Mhm.
And you know, it's most of the time it's just a little bit of sugar leakage,
Mhm.
but that needs to be picked up 100% of the time. So I have a sweeper on skid steer. I have 2 skid steers with 2 sweepers.
Mhm.
And then I have another ride-on sweeper that sweeps up a little better. Then the port, when they're unloading, are responsible for cleaning up any spills that they have, and they do the same exact thing. So it's just a dedicated employee, essentially just following and cleaning.
So we do have, when you're satisfied with Matt's explanation, we do have somebody from the public who, we've asked to come back, from the zoning board and speak.
Did we have any other questions? Is everybody looking?
I just have one question. I know sugar is highly flammable under
Sugar dust.
sugar dust.
Highly flammable. Yep. For this, there's no concern.
Okay.
Because raw sugar is not flammable. Raw sugar, it has moisture in it. It doesn't cause sugar dust. Where you run into problems with sugar dust is when you have refined sugar. And then that refined sugar has different granulation sizes. So you go from big down to small, you road tap on it and you get different sizes. And what happens is if you have large plumes of that dust, then it is combustible. For us in our facility, I have a dedicated employee. The biggest thing is just maintenance. You continuously sweep, and then we have dust collectors that then get the dust that it creates gets processed.
Any other questions?
Thanks, Matt, you're good for now.
Okay.
So we have someone from the public, so we'll open it up for a public hearing. So if I can entertain a motion.
Right motion.
All in favor? Aye. Motion carried, so we're open now for a public hearing. Anyone that wants to come forward, could identify yourself.
I apologize if you guys have already kind of heard this because I was here for the 5 o'clock meeting, but
The rerun is good.
rerun's good. I'll try to maybe summarize it a little bit, but
No problem.
my name is Eric Burrows and I'm part owner of a company called Ferris Manufacturing. We're located at 1951 Hamburg Turnpike. We're just south of Sioux Crow. We're on the same parcel of property. We're a family-owned metal fabrication business. My father started the company back in 1987. Our original shop was originally located at the north end of the plant, but eventually we outgrew that space. And so we moved into the old locomotive repair shop, which is now called Building 30, where we have been since 1992. We are the longest tenants of Buffalo Crushed Stone, or New Enterprise, as they're called now, who owns and leases the property that both us and Sucro are on. In the nearly 40 years that we've been located at the old Bethlehem Steel site, we've seen many changes. I've seen big steel buildings come down, pipe racks, bridges, and the original office building come down. And then the properties sat vacant for years. Within the last decade, there's finally been some development to the site, a bike path, windmills, solar panels, business like Welded Tube, Compass Minerals, TRS, the warehouses along Route 5, and now Sucro and Sweet Life. The port has also seen an increase with the staging material for the new stadium. And then there's also windmills that are being staged and moved out of there now that are going to the southern tier. While the economic redevelopment overall has been positive, there has been one major issue: drainage. With the entire 1951 Hamburg Turnpike site being a brownfield zone, these new businesses had just capped or brought in fill for these new facilities, raising the existing property levels so they're not excavating into the potentially contaminated ground and have to face remediation. So at the higher building sites, and we know that water always finds its lowest point, the question is where has all this water gone? Not towards Route 5, because that would impact everyday traffic, and not towards the lake because of the runoff and DEC concerns. Instead, it sits in the middle of the property where we are located, and it sits along the docks. It's not uncommon for the docks and port roadways to have up to 2 feet of standing water. This has also caused major issues with the roadway that was put in off of Dona Street after the Ridge Road entrance was closed. The road is also the lowest spot where the water sits, so it freezes and damages the pavement. The potholes are absolutely horrendous. The potholes that are no exaggeration, 8 inches deep, and are bigger than a 55-gallon drum. It's gotten so bad that people are driving through other people's businesses. They're driving down the back way through TRS, not even on this road. And then they're also driving around telephone poles, which are located next to the solar panels, to avoid this roadway. Fortunately, as someone who drives this road daily, I know where the potholes are, because with the water being so deep, you can't even see them. However, we had a customer in for a project review, and he blew the tire right off his rim because he hit one of these craters. An employee of ours needed to purchase a new vehicle, and he decided to buy an SUV because he said the water was so deep and he is sick of water coming through the doors of his old Honda Accord. It's that deep. The property owners clearly do not care about the water in the roadway or the potholes, as this has been neglected for years. But they do care about access to the port, as this is where boats are coming in for windmill parts, salt for Compass Minerals, and sugar for Sucro. So what has been done to alleviate the water situation along the docks at the port? A retention pond was put in next to our facility, and the water is pumped into it, getting it away from the docks. So they are literally just pushing around the problem. We think that when you think of a retention pond, you think of water runoff in a neighborhood with cattails, wildlife, and maybe even big enough to have a kayak in there. Not in this cesspool. It's a hole that had no liner put in. It was just dug with foundations and rebar sticking out like spaghetti. Water so black it looks like motor oil. A brown frothy sludge on top. Water so bad that not even duck or geese would land in it. And a smell that can only be described as feces mixed with throw up. Well, I would say that not all the drainage issues are a result of Sucro. I feel like the stench is coming from the sugar. Is the sugar leaching into this flooded area and then pumped into this retention pond? And then it spills over into the roadways? Employees of our company are having to get Delta Sonic unlimited washes to try to rinse the sticky, smelly residue off their vehicles. As I mentioned, we're a family-owned business. My family members who work there can't even park their car in their garages because the smell is so bad it permeates into the house. We have been forced to close the overhead doors at our building because the smell is so bad when the wind comes out of the south or out of the east. Employees are constantly complaining that the smell is so horrible and they have to wear a respirator on windy days. What is this sludge? Is it clogging the sewers or drainage? Is it really sewage because the drains are clogged? I don't know. Is it safe to be exposed to this? So I understand that this does not impact many people. If these issues were happening in a residential neighborhood, there would be way more people here, I guarantee it. There are obviously incentives involved with this being called the Bethlehem Redevelopment Area, or the BRA, whether it's the ECIDA, City of Lackawanna, or New York State funding. But I kindly ask before this 30,000 plus square foot facility is put up, please look into the drainage for the entire site and also look what's being leached into the water system. I would be happy to have you guys come to our business and take a look, but everything is really dry right now. So the pond, the retention pond is very low and there is no water issues at this point. So I guess, I don't want to come out with Sucro. I mean, obviously the redevelopment is good. We're all for progress. We're all for more jobs, but again, it's impacting the other businesses around it. And like I mentioned, every site, whether it's TRS, whether it's, welded tube, even Compass Mill, they just built up. So again, where is the lowest point? Well, we're finding where the lowest point is, and unfortunately, it's right next to our business. And like I said, we've been there since 1982. So, I'm just concerned that again, if this building is going from 15% down to 7%, and I know he even mentioned, I heard him mention that this foundation is being built up 26 inches out of the ground. So where is even that water then going? The water that is sitting on vacant land right now is now raised up and it goes somewhere, right? It has to go somewhere. So I guess that's just my concern. Thank you for listening.
Sir, Chairperson Smith, if I could add a couple of comments to supplement what was said. So, Kim, you live in the first ward and you probably are aware of the odor issues that we have contended with, in the first ward around the sewer area. This is an active project with Erie County Sewer. They're very much aware of it. There's a problem with the sewer pumps that run from the property through Route 5 to Lackawanna. Again, it's an active project with the Erie County Sewer. I can't speak to.
What is the sewer district 6?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, Joe Fiegel, who is the head of that, is on that regularly. But what Eric said here is true, that some of the initial investigation, if you will, of the odors did find residual sugar, and it's fermenting and it's smelling and it's coming back up. So that's number one. It is an active project with the Erie County Sewer. As far as the land that's undeveloped, the 100 acres that sits between Dona Street and where this project is, there is a master infrastructure plan that is contingent upon, again, not to be repetitive, a big project that goes in there. Right now it is laying flat. It is laying lower than the developed areas. What you have in front of you here, and again, not to make this an issue of that we have no control or what have you, but remember our job here is that we don't own the land, we're advocators. So, as you're looking at the site plan, you need to keep in mind that there is a problem today, as Eric has outlined very clearly. But at the same token, in terms of smells and things of that nature, this particular project won't cause any of that. This will be a runoff, potential water issue, maybe, but Matt has explained the distance away and what he hopes is the outcome. So you have to take everything into account here, that there's a lot of plans that have not been executed that, in the future will alleviate a lot of this. Unfortunately, we're dealing with the here and now, and Matt's project is the first one to touch that undeveloped, area of the Commerce Park. That said, you all as a board will have to decide what you're comfortable with. I know there's a huge sense of urgency in terms of getting this constructed, based upon appropriate approvals and what have you. So you will all have to determine what your comfort level is with what, if any, contingencies, you want to see with this, recognizing what Eric has said, but also keeping in mind that this particular project in front of you today, the only piece that this will exacerbate is runoff. This will not affect the sewers. It will not affect, the odors in the community any more than are already being dealt with at the county sewer level. So with that, I yield back, and I appreciate you allowing me to give that piece of input.
So, is this exacerbated when it rains and then after the winter when the snow melts?
Correct. Yes, rains and snow melt, yes.
Okay. So with Supro being aware of this, and we know that this particular project is, you already explained, it's just gonna be runoff. What are your views on where the runoff is gonna go?
Yeah, so, I mean, and
And then if it does, I think earlier you said what you're,
kind of back, yeah,
what you're
I mean,
thinking about.
I still,
So what happens?
You can do it if you want. I'm sorry, Matt, if you want to show them again, you're welcome to come up and point to whatever illustration you need to.
So where you're anticipating the runoff to take place, if that's not successful, and and then you end up exacerbating a problem that exists. What's now
the next
plan
step,
two?
the next step there would have to be, and I think the only solution would be drainage tile.
Mhm,
It would be drainage tile out to storm drain
mhm.
on the east side.
Okay,
Can someone clarify, Sandra, where your business is in relation to this?
He's like here. I mean, we can put it up on map.
I got you.
He's like right around.
That works. I was trying to picture where you
Yeah.
were in relation.
We're south of him.
And-
I drove by here the other day,
Mhm.
but I did not see the retention pond, that you were speaking of.
Mhm.
Is it
No, it's
on this map or is it
far,
way
far back.
way out? Okay,
I mean, it's probably best to look at
that's probably why I didn't see it, because I drove by.
Scott, are you able to pull that up so that they can see it?
Let's see if it's still here.
Yes, very dry.
and the other question that I have.
So,
for you there
It only
is
shows
everything.
2017 map.
Clear.
Erie County's 2017.
Who have you expressed those concerns to?
the property manager, Scott Simmons,
Mhm.
up at New Enterprise. So we mentioned it to him several times, not only about the potholes and the water, but also the smell. And, I keep hearing, well, we're working on it, we're trying to get a grant, we're pushing, but it's been, I don't know, years. I mean, Sucro's probably been around, I don't know how many years.
2020, since around 2020, they got.
So it's been 6 years.
So have you ever addressed or attempted to address your concerns with the government entities that, I think you said it's a land bank, it's ECIDA?
Yeah, so the three parties involved would be the ECIDA, and they collapse the land bank into that. Tecumseh, which is not a government entity, their local representative is Rue Engineer. And then you've got the Gateway Trade Zone, which is Mr. Simmons, Scott Simmons, who is the senior manager of that property here.
So I have actually been in contact with Rue on this, because I drive past the same exact pothole that he does. I mean, to the point where when there's water, I know, and I'm sure he knows where to turn, like at this point, turn left and go at a 45-degree angle to go past it. I do have contact with Rue, so I'm gonna set up a meeting next week with Rue, which is gonna be Tom Forbes and Eric. And then, because I think for the most part, the two people that are the most affected would be me and Eric, or Eric and I. And there's some businesses in the back. like municipalities.
Artmeyer and Compass Minerals too.
Yeah. I mean, Compass Minerals, the flooding.
Yeah.
For them it's outrageous.
Well, I would say that's what goes hand in hand is potholes are because of the flooding, right? So I mean, if you get rid of the flooding, you'll fix the potholes. But as I mentioned before too, as part of the issue, again, this is what I've heard, is the road that comes down with the potholes is right next to the solar panels. So again, they built up the solar panels. So the road is the lowest point. That's where the water sits. Running parallel with the solar panels and the road is also a big drainage ditch. I've heard that they don't want to fix the road because the proper way to
Who is
fix it,
that?
Scott Simmons or
Thank you.
Brew or Benchmark, whoever they are. Because what would happen is if they properly fixed the road and ran the drainage to the ditch where it should go, they're concerned about DEC concerns because what is in that water? So they don't want anything right at this point.
Yeah, and so if I may come back again, thought and development. What Eric is saying in current state is absolutely true. However, this large project, whether it's this one that we're up for or another one, I can assure you, without saying a whole lot of detail, I can assure you that the DEC will be up and down and sideways on that project because of many of the things that Eric has outlined here. And in addition, unlike this project, which again, I'm not trying to trivialize, has a minimal impact in terms of
Yeah.
store or runoff water. A project of the magnitude that's being talked about will be off the charts in terms of its impact environmentally. So the DEC will be involved in that type of review because the land will need to be built up. The land will need to comply. It will need to meet the master environmental plan for that site. It doesn't address today. Okay. So I want it to be clear that the concerns that are here now are because of an unknown of the future. You know, they can't invest the money that's necessary to bring that up to a level where these issues are not happening without knowing what's coming in here. And the brownfield credits and programs that would be associated with that particular thing. So I think what you have to do here is, you know, take all of this information into account and come back to the site plan at hand in terms of understanding the big macro issue. What is the micro impact of this project? What are your concerns? What are your conditions? How do you want to go forward? And I think what Matt has explained to you is the runoff. He's also explained to you about how the sugar will come in from the port, transported by trucks from their property, not going around the main public roads. It'll be coming over the railway and inside. So you have to digest all of that in its entirety.
So that's the reason why I wanted to hone in on the runoff. I think this is going to be basic runoff, but if it becomes a bigger issue that's caused by the construction of this new facility, that's why I wanted to know what's your plan B.
Yeah,
And you said
it would have to
be
be
drain tie,
on both sides,
that you would do.
for sure. Yeah,
So
we'd have to
I think that should be.
stipulation.
Jared Butler. Eric, is your name?
Yes.
So is your biggest concern just to run off? Because I mean, the potholes and everything, that's probably the wear and tear, all the other business and everything, which I don't think his business really impacts that.
Yeah.
So your biggest concern is what, the runoff, the water, where's
The
it going?
runoff, the water, and whatever is in that pond, whatever they're pumping from the docks into the retention pond right next
Does he
door.
impact that or no? That's something.
He says no, I say yes. I mean, let's say this, they're unloading from a barge into dump trucks. What happens when it's raining? He says they spill and they go around with sweepers. There's still dust, there's still aggregate. You're not getting everything. Where is that going? Sitting on the deck. They don't spill anything. I find that hard to believe.
So in my opinion, this is if we pass this, maybe put some conditions in or whatever, because I mean, being a good neighbor, we just want to make sure that it doesn't create a detriment, right, to him or anybody else.
Did this sludging smell happen prior to the?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. There was no retention pond. Again, you almost have to kind of see like a map and see what they're doing. So again, the water sits along the docks, which again, that's where the boats come in, that's where they unload, and the water sits there. They're then Because again, this is their moneymaker, right? This is where the boats come in. This is where they need this. So they don't care about me. They care about the docks and keeping the docks open. So again, this water sits there. Well, they can't run a business with 2 foot of standing water. So they pump it to where we are. And that's where it sits and it ferments and it's.
But you said that you've already addressed this and we're gonna continue to address it with the property manager.
We expressed it to the property manager, but nothing's been done.
Gary Duval there, anybody can correct me if I'm wrong, but I have a working knowledge of it. Retention ponds work one of two ways. One, they leach, so a retention pond for when it rains collects the water and it leaches. Two, it pumps to storm and or gets leached to storm or drain. And this sounds like it's doing neither of that.
Yeah.
Okay, so the issue is they just made a collection box and not a retention pond, so to speak.
Correct.
So that I think would come down to whoever did that. You know what I mean? Or you said something about the
That was
sewer.
New Enterprise.
The sewer is supposed to be fixing that, for the pump. So what, I mean, you can fill your laundry tub in the basement
Mhm.
with, soap and dirty water, give it a week and it's gonna stink like sewage.
Yes.
So that water is not meant to be stagnant and sitting there that long.
Mhm.
It is the issue that I think, is a large part of what would fix your problem. So however they need to do that, I think down the road and or whatever is how it is.
Yes.
But it's separate from that, which
Yeah.
again correlates with this, unfortunately.
It does.
So
I think for this, I mean, and obviously, this is just a thought based on what you guys are saying. If like a stipulation, I don't know if you guys, I don't even know if this is possible, but after 6 months of this being in, and it's noticed that there's a drainage problem, we're required to put in drainage tile or something. Is that even a possibility?
Yes.
we can put stipulations.
I mean, obviously, I'm not going to I'm not gonna fight that. I think that that's fair. I would do that either way,
Which
whether
I
it's in there or
Gary
not.
Duval again, sorry if I keep going off track here, and the potholes and stuff like that, when it impacts other people, don't you have to fix that anyways at the end of the day? You know what I mean? So your person that owns them roads, they're supposed to maintain them
Mhm.
Yeah.
at the end of the day.
Can't there be fines or something? Sandra?
So
Well, they're private roads.
yeah, but
Private property,
Private,
yeah.
private property, private roads. I'm not disagreeing with you, Gary. You're absolutely right, because as Eric mentioned, there's, in one respect, they're being penny wise and pound foolish in terms of investments to fix the potholes and so on. But at the same time, all that prosperity that's happening, at the port and is starting to come, needs to have appropriate ways to navigate through without the employees and the businesses being disenfranchised or put at risk. But those are related conversations, but not specific to this. What I would say is, I will take these concerns back to the ECIDA and make them aware of what happened here at the planning board and encourage, ongoing conversation. Where you need to come back to here is the conditions and stipulations and whatever decision you're coming to. And I'm not telling you one way or the other, but to your question, Matt, hypothetically, if there were an approval with contingencies, it would be in the record, it would be in the minutes of the meeting. And if there were, let's just say Eric had a complaint about extended problems 6 months from now,
Yep.
we would come back at you
Okay.
with that approval and say, okay, this is what the contingency was. It's not working. This is what you need to do.
Got it. I mean, I think that's more than fair.
That's the board. I'm just the administrative yapper back here. That's up to the board to decide, what they want to do there. If anything.
I think that's what makes the most sense, as far as the potholes and all of those issues and the retention pond. I sympathize with you, but the thing is that that's something that you need to address with the property owners. So I heard you mention all the other property owners, but I didn't hear you say anything about the county and ECIDA and the land bank. So all of those entities need to be made aware of all the legitimate concerns that you have.
Yeah, and Eric, I will again, Clark from development, I'm sorry, I'm talking over the process too. I will be happy to, document this on the city's behalf. But in reality, we're a non-paying partner in this conversation. The rubber meets the road with the people who have jobs and capital improvements and all of that back there. So I concur with Ms. Smith to say, you need to be as much of a vocal advocate. And I know you have been, but you need to continue accelerating that conversation so that then when the city comes in and says, hey, this is what happened at our planning board, there's at least some dots to connect and, more conversations hopefully to be had. But we sympathize, we do. We're not trying to kick it down the road or absolve anything. But this particular project, yeah, this particular project has limited impact and again, we'll need to decide how, whatever impact it does have in terms of the runoff and perhaps even continuing, to add to the retention pond problem, what conditions you would be willing to move forward or not move forward. But that's where I think you got to come back to once you close the public comment.
Okay, Scott Hayes, code enforcement, one thing. Do you want him to do a formal letter and send it to us so we have it in the packet? The letter that you
Well,
read.
That would be helpful. If you could,
Yes.
document that, that would then go into the official record. And the letter I reference, I would take this entire packet, minutes and all, including your letter, and pass it to my partners at the different agencies that we've referenced here today. And then that would at least be an opportunity for us to say, hey, we fired the shot, and go do your thing. And we have good relationships with all of them. There's nothing adversarial about any of our conversations. So, I can call every one of these people today and have a good conversation around this. But ultimately, at the end of the day, they are the stewards of making those changes. So the best we can do is advocate. Okay?
Can we as a board ask that they test that water that's sitting there to see what's in it?
That's outside of our scope. And I can assure you that the DEC is on that property, left, right, and center. And again, I'm not advocating, I'm not saying it doesn't stink. I'm not saying that any of the things that were said here today aren't true. But the DEC is on that property more often than you think.
It's a legitimate brownfield, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's a BOA. The whole thing is a BOA. And just again, one more thing, I apologize for extending, but that back 500 acres, that's all slag on the other side of the solar panels and the DEC is all over that place testing all of that right now. Because the intent is to try to activate as much of that back in the next 15 years is to try and activate as much of that as possible. So in order for that to happen, they're doing the same analysis back there that was done in 2010, 2012 that actually got us to the Commerce Park property today. So, Ms. Smith, I've talked way too much. It's time for you to move on.
So is there anybody else here from the public? And if not, then I'll entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
Thank you.
Second.
All in favor? Motion carries, so the public hearing is closed. So now we have to decide what we want to do with the agenda item. And this is specifically to discuss the site plan and any contingencies that you may want to put in to help address some of the issues that we've heard. So my opinion is, again, we're expecting this to just be basic runoff, but if the runoff exacerbates the problem that exists, I think we should put a contingency in that Sucro has to install drain tile to address the runoff.
I agree.
Gary DeValier, I agree with that too, but how exactly do you quantify? If it's made it worse, the same, or anything other than that?
If there's complaints from the tenants or the owners of the business owners.
Jared Buckner.
How do you prove that's where it's coming from?
Right. Well, sorry, Jared Buckner, to kind of piggyback off of what Gary said. I would think that, again, there's no measurement, you can't quantify it. But if his situation worsens, right, without, I guess, facts, you can just assume, and no one assume that because of this new structure and everything, it created some more of a detriment than prior to putting that up. That makes sense?
Well, he said he's been here 40 years and it hasn't happened prior to that.
Right.
So I would think if it gets worse,
I think it's a good idea regardless. So, I mean, if it's gonna help. Either way, the contingency should be put in. Strictly, as a. I don't wanna say it fail safe, but more of a. Listen, I'm gonna do everything I can for you, so to speak,
Right.
so I think that, put in there. And then, that's it.
Can we just make a stipulation that you wanna build this, you need to put the drain tile and not just wait?
And, well, you're voter, yeah, they're
Yeah,
not
maybe
normally
we'll
in
help
the
situation.
realm of spending money if they don't have to, until
Understand
they
that.
have to. In my experience, so,
Fair enough.
And nothing is there now, right?
Correct.
So where would you put? There's nothing there now, so that's the reason why there's no drain.
Now, but if the runoff is happening since that business, if they put the drains in, maybe it would stop.
I understood what was said. It's not just from the business, it's from all of these businesses being built up. So therefore, there's a low point to the water drain. It's not Sucro. It's from all of these things that have collected.
And so I'm thinking maybe it's a breaking point, but you don't want to dump the expense on Sucro if it's all of the businesses.
well, if he, you're Logan. If he impacts, or their company impacts it more so than it is now, then it should be rectified by that company at least. To the point where it gets back to what it was before this was,
Because nothing is there now.
Yeah.
So when this structure is put there and then you have additional runoff that exacerbates the problem, then you have to assume that this is where it came from. Okay, and so then that's the reason why you have a stipulation in place that we have to assume that this is where it came from, that we need them to put drain tile. Which.
he said he had to do
Yeah.
anyways, so
He's comfortable doing that.
actually put that and then. We gotta go on.
Any other suggestions or comments, questions? Okay, so I'll entertain a motion to approve the site plan with the stipulation that once the construction of this new facility is complete, if it creates additional runoff and then that runoff exacerbates the current problem, that Sucro will put in a drain tile.
Point of process here, Clark from development. Before you get to
Oh, what,
voting,
negative?
you need to,
Our
to
negative
your next
declaration.
deck.
Yes, we got it.
So you need to do that, but I
Yeah.
will point out to you, and again, this is the board's decision. I will call to your attention, I'm looking at the wrong one. I will call to your attention the response to question 17 about stormwater runoff.
Mhm.
So you will need in your neck deck to caveat it because all the answers
Or yes,
are no, actually. They're currently no.
but they need to be yes.
They need to be yes, and then your at the minute, you don't need to describe it in here. The minutes will describe it. We'll make sure, and then your conditions will be to address the deficiencies caused by in number 17. Make sense?
Mhm. So we need to do a next.
You need to do your neck deck first
Which is with the amended.
with the amended responses to 17 as you see fit. I'm not telling you what to do, but as you see fit. And then if you accept that, then you can move to your whatever decision you're making on the site plan and contingencies.
Okay. So I'll entertain a motion to approve the negative declaration. With the correction to question 17. Question 17A and B is currently listed as no, but those answers should be yes.
Motion plan.
Sanford, second.
All in favor?
I.
Any opposition? Motion carried. And now I'll entertain the motion to approve the site plan with the stipulation that if additional runoff from the new constructed facility exacerbates the current drainage problem, that Sucro will install drain tile. Motion.
Duval second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you, gentlemen. You're welcome to stay for the last item, or I know you want to get out of here, but you can go. Do you need Matt to do anything? Does Matt need to do anything with you at
No.
this point?
If you could just send that letter to us.
That would be, yeah, Eric, if you would, you can hang out as long as you want.
Did you want to email to send it to?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll give it to you before.
Debbie.
Just so we can have it in the
Thank you
formal
for coming
packet.
back and spending more time with us, and Matt for your time as well.
Absolutely, thank you guys.
Okay, so the next agenda item is, the town manager from City of Lackawanna, Director of Purchasing.
Come on up, Tom.
Got a grant for about $100,000 for Lackawanna Public Library. We're replacing the windows. Same kind of windows, because the building is going to historic status. And the back porch, we had to put 2 new doors in because it was falling through, and we had to replace the steel beams on the corner. We're not changing any structure of the building, still staying the same. We're just rebuilding the back up and changing the windows on the second floor that go out with the same kind of windows that are in there now, to keep the historic status. Messing with that at all, because it's supposed to get historic status in September. And for the grant, I need to see her negative declaration of it to the project, so I can submit the grant forms.
Questions?
You do it.
Is there anyone from the public that wants to speak? There's nobody here from the public that needs to speak, and nobody has any questions, comments? Okay, so I'll entertain motion to approve the negative declaration. Okay. You second?
I'll second.
Oh, all right, all in favor? Any opposition?
Who was the first motion?
Yeah,
Thank you.
Jared second. Motion carried. So now I'll entertain a motion to approve the site plan, or is there a plan or anything?
No, there was no site plan, no. No, there's no site plan necessary because it's an outdoor addition that's being reinforced and new windows. So he, as Mr. Nicometto said, he needed the neg deck. Guys, we're having a
Oh,
tough,
I thought it was.
no, we're not done yet.
No.
He needs a neg deck for both the historic preservation and for the grant that's gonna fund the repairs.
That's it.
And that's it.
We said it's been here in September for the library.
Fingers crossed, that's when the store on some board comes back up.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I don't think we have any table items. Do we have any table items?
Not to my knowledge.
Okay, so I'll entertain motion to adjourn. All in favor? Aye. Motion carried.